Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. My name is Rob Evans, and I'm your weight loss coach, health strategist, and internationally published author, helping take your mindset, your life, your business, your body from where you are right now to where it is that you want to be. And I have a really special guest with me today, Luke Cook. How are you going, Luke?
I'm very good, Rob. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you. And thanks for taking up some of your time today to be with us. I'm going to give you a little bit of an intro. And so Luke is the CEO of and founder of Funlocka and Cuppa of Life, which we're going to talk about a fair bit today. He helps unlock smiles of the people that matter most in business, which is your employees, customers, and yourself. And he does this by inspiring people through the virtual Cuppa of Life cafe, sourcing experts and personalities to help people start their day with positivity and inspiration. And it's awesome. Also providing exciting group experiences and reward programs for staff and customers as well. I love Luke's passion. He's a fun, down-to-earth guy, and we're going to have a lot of fun here today. So thanks so much, Luke, for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Rob. I'm looking forward to it, mate.
So I wanted to just briefly talk about how we came to this moment, I guess, and that was via the Athlete Story.
Yes.
And and I want to talk to you about that because it's a fantastic series. Often what I'm talking about on this show around mindset is also about how we build relationships. And one of the great things, I'm going to ask you some of the great things that you found about COVID. One of the great things that I'm finding about COVID is that it's making me connect more deeply with those people that are already in my life, whether it be the kids or my existing clients, but also those new relationships as well. And I've found it's been really, really powerful. And so how it's led to this moment is, it's a longer story, but I'll make it short. I reached out to Kerry. I met Kerry Potthast back in 2015.
Yep.
And I got to wear a gold medal and have a little bit of chat to her, bought her book and all that kind of stuff. And we didn't stay connected or anything. I mean, you don't really stay connected with a gold medalist.
No, it's tough.
Yeah. And it wasn't until about 18 months ago. So I was writing my book and I was working with one of my coaches around, they said, so, who's famous that that can endorse the book and do all this? And I'm like, yeah, right. No one. I said, I've interviewed Brooke Shields, but Brooke Shields is going to, probably want 10,000 plus to do that. And then it just so happened when I got asked that question a few days before, I wrote an article about Kerry on the photo of me wearing her medal 5 years ago. Wow. And I posted it on LinkedIn and I think I tagged her and then she came back with a comment and then we were just getting into a bit of a conversation. And so when I got asked this question, I said, what about an Olympic gold medalist? And they said, oh yeah, they use this expletive in there. And I said, well, so I reached out to Kerry and said, Kerry, I've written a book. Would you be interested in endorsing it? And anyway, so now she wrote the foreword to my book.
Did she? Amazing.
Yeah, which is fantastic. And from there, now we do business together through the same nutrition company. And then obviously came the Athlete Story. So the Athlete Story, which was every night for the night of the Olympics, such a brilliant idea. Where if the Olympics had been on and you had 2 Olympians on. And so obviously I got involved with that every night and then discovered that, actually you do the Cuppa of Life as well after the Olympics. And so now I tune in when I can in the morning. So I wanted to firstly say what a brilliant job you've been doing. But let's go back a bit for you in your story. How have you got to the Cuppa of Life?
Yeah, so our business I founded 3.5 years ago after I reached burnout in my career. So I was in media and advertising for 20 years. Started off as Lightning Luke on the streets of Sydney, handing out free cans of Coke and doing live crosses on the radio. But fast forward 20 years. Luke. Yeah. Fast forward 20 years, I was sales director of a media organisation because I was always fast tracked through the ranks in career. And then all of a sudden I was managing, I was in sales. I was only as good as my next month. There was a lot of pressure building and I reached burnout in my career where I decided to give it all up, and a massive 6-figure salary. And I just went, I've got to find a bigger purpose in my life around what I want to do in life. And, a core fundamental part of me is helping bring smiles to people's faces. And one of the areas that I saw lacked was I saw that there wasn't an emotional connection in how businesses really understood the values of people in life and what they care about. It's always about me as a business. And so what I tried to bridge was create a platform or a solution for companies to help reward their staff with things in life that they care about. So standing on the field with your favorite footy team, going to a dining experience with your favorite chef, and using my network as my net worth and connecting unique experiences to people and allowing businesses to reward people. So I built a software solution for companies originally called Funlocka, which is an app that companies onboard their staff with. And I think of it like Netflix, but for experiences. So every time that an employee logs on, we build real-time understanding around their interests, hobbies, and desires by them saying yes or no to new experiences.
Okay.
But building a tech solution, not being a tech head, I've got a lot of scar wounds on me of bad decisions. And it's not necessarily that the product isn't great. It's just, being a new founder, a sole founder, developing a tech solution, I learned a lot along the way. So we switched our attention a little bit to also do like team building events, leadership retreats, client entertainment programs, anything that we could save the time, energy, or resource cost on companies. We were executing. And then, so we're going okay. We're growing each month based off that rewards program, but also the bespoke services. And then COVID hit and our business stopped overnight. And I say 100% of our business stopped overnight because companies weren't rewarding because they're more worried about holding on to their staff, let alone rewarding them. And all the major events and experiences that we had locked away stopped. And our 500 plus suppliers, rugby league teams, restaurants, the local pottery classes, all closed their doors. And when you're fully invested in your own business, i.e., I'm fully invested in my own business. I'm living and dying by this business right now, in personal cash flow and all the rest of it. I stopped and I got a coffee one day. I called our head of experience, Jill, who's also a part founder in the business. And I said, Jill, what are we going to do? And I said, well, what's our brand promise? And our brand promise is to help businesses build happy and healthy communities. And whilst I was worried about COVID, I was more worried about the mental health and well-being of people out there. I knew that this would have a major effect. And I said, well, let's just tap into our network and let's just help people start their day with positivity and inspiration, stuff that they can control, not what they can't. And that's when we thought, well, let's launch a virtual cafe. I was tossing up about a virtual cafe or a virtual wine bar, but I ended up going.
Cafe is probably a bit safer.
Yeah, well, I decided to. It was mainly just to go, well, how do we help people start their day with positivity and inspiration? And that's when we tapped into a few of our network. Kerry was one of the first people that appeared originally. We've had people like Lane Beachley, world surfing champions, but we've also had experts in their field like Kamal Sama, who's a former monk and venture capitalist, talking about resilience, and Sean Hall talking about energy. And so each day we help people start their day by bringing in a guest. And now we're 20 weeks in and had over 130 guests appear. And now Funlocka in its previous form is probably going to transform into being something completely different now that COVID has hit.
Yeah. I think what you've done is incredible. I mean, like putting just together my series, I know how much work goes into it. And when you're getting, these celebrities every day to do that, there's a lot of work that goes into that. And of course the research and all that kind of stuff. So I think the work that you've done there is amazing. I mean, my first introduction of you being the athlete story, I mean, just getting all of those connections, and obviously Kerry's connection would have massively helped there in building those relationships. But that was such a unique experience, and something that I don't know whether anyone else in the world thought about it, what other countries did, but just such a unique experience. So maybe just for the benefit of the audience, you want to talk a bit about that?
So we had Kerry Potas, who won gold medal in the 2000 Olympics for beach volleyball. When she came into the Cuppa of Life Cafe, we obviously had a great experience together in our 30-minute catch-up that we do. And then Kerry said to me, she goes, Cookie, like if it was, this was about 12, probably about 10 weeks later. And she goes, I've got this idea around, the Olympics have just been postponed. I'd love to be, and I'm looking to launch my own business called The Athlete Story. I'm thinking about, wouldn't it be great if we could bring in Olympians on the day that the actual gold medal was supposed to happen in Japan, and bring them in and just have a chat. And originally I was going to help her do it in her own right. And I said, well, why don't we use our vehicle Cuppa of Life to be able to deliver that? Now, testament to Kerry, like Kerry did all the hard work on that.
Yeah, she's a hard worker.
The research, she sourced majority of the talent, in fact, all of the talent, which is, partial strategy of ours as well, to be able to tap into other resources to get the talent to come on, right? So we knew that as well, but we were just there as the executional phase of that series. So it ran for 17 days. We had 34 athletes join us, from, Dawn Fraser to Ian Thorpe to Grant Hackett to every man. Like,
it was amazing.
It was incredible. And what it gives is it gives a personal insight. And the real reason why I thought it worked was Kerry took the reins as the interviewer, not me. And that allowed a gold medalist to talk to another gold medalist. And to me, that's what made that series so special. If I would have done it, I don't think it would have been as good. It needed that. It needed someone like Kerry there to be able to get into the nuance of a mindset of an athlete. And that's what she brought to the table. And that's why I think it worked really well over those 17 days.
I think the standouts for me were, one, she also had a look at, so what were the events on that day, and though, like, if on the actual Tokyo Olympics day, and she picked athletes from those sports on that day, so there was an extra layer of planning behind that. But you're right. I think a gold medalist talking to other gold medalists is gold in itself, and they were so very raw and real about everybody's struggle. Like, we look at somebody standing on a podium and we think, oh, boom, look at them, wow. But nobody understands the backstory, and they're really no different to you and me.
No.
In many respects.
And that's where a lot of the feedback came across Cuppa of Life in general. Like, firstly, you're in their home, as in it's virtual. You're in their home. So you're in their safe environment. So no matter if it's an Olympian or a day-to-day person, they're in their own world. So they feel a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more relaxed. The conversational structures and all that type of stuff that Kerry delivers and what we deliver in Cuppa of Life is very much about understanding the person and emotionally connecting their story to the audience that are attending, and giving the audience access to these talent makes them feel as if anything is achievable. And that's a lot of the comments that we get back with in Cuppa is we get feedback going, okay, this person started off like me. They've had their same emotional triggers, their insecurities, their challenges, and they've made it. So I can make it too. And, whether you're an Olympian or you're a business person or whatever, it's the mindset that is the most important. And that's the biggest value that I think we deliver in Cuppa of Life. Yeah,
well said. I wanted to pick up on something you just said right at the start of the Cuppa of Life stuff. You said before you started Funlocka and Cuppa of Life that you were like burnout. How long do you think you were going through that burnout before you came to that, not necessarily the decision, but that moment where you said it ends now?
Yeah, so I would probably say 2 and a bit years. I was, so my career journey, like I said, I started off, having a lot of fun. I was then in promotions and sponsorships for a radio station, so very ideation focused. One day, one of our big bosses said, Luke, you'd be great at sales, because I'm just a natural born, passionate person that can, if I believe in something, I can deliver it.
Yeah.
So I moved to another company called MCM Media, where I was a junior salesperson for that company. And I just, I excelled at it like everyone thought I would. And all of a sudden I just kept on getting progressed through the ranks but every time I got progressed, I made a lot more money. And then all of a sudden I thought money equaled happiness, and I was wrong. And then all of a sudden I was then sales director, where it was less about ideas and more about how good are you next month? What are your team doing right now? And I became more like a drill sergeant than I became about some sort of motivator or positive. Now, I think I could have, if I had my time back, I probably learnt the hard way that I was more of a manager and not a leader. I didn't craft my own leadership techniques in being able to craft my own way of delivery. I replicated what my bosses used to do, and I became a mini version of them. And then all of a sudden, the industry itself started going through some fickle phases as well in advertising and media, and we're all a small player in that market. And the pressure became so much that I gave up that role, and then I tried something else just for a 6-month period, and nothing was fixing itself. And then I've always been pretty open with how I've been feeling and how I've been going. And I actually had a mate of mine, Hodgie, who sadly passed away last year. He gave me a serve over the phone that I've never had a mate give me over the phone. Now, I call him like one of my best friends, my gotcha for life buddy, but also someone that I respect in business. And he just gave me the biggest serve that I've ever had. The swear words coming out of his mouth were probably what shocked me the most, because I've never had a mate give it to me like he did over the phone. And he just said, mate, you're destined for great things. You just need to believe in yourself, and you need to take the time out to really think about what's important to you. And don't worry about your mortgage. Don't worry about all these other things that you're concerned about, because if you're not right, the rest of it. And I was about to get married at that stage, and I just had everything up in the air. And I ended up taking 3 months off, and I called it recharge to take charge. And I did. I reset me, and I found better foundations around me first. And then I then started to think about, well, what do I love in my career? And I wanted to make people happy. That's my vision. How you make people happy, you have to understand them, what their emotional triggers are, what makes them smile. And then the third thing is I didn't want to lose my partners. My network is my net worth. Relationships with record labels, movie companies, sporting clubs, sporting coach, charities, brands, whatever it may be. So I just went, how can I bring all those to life into one thing? Now the forefront of it with what we're doing with Cuppa has probably been the biggest win for me. And I've never had such positive feedback, if I fast forward 3 years that I've been doing Funlocka, to what I've had in the last 20 weeks. So right now, I actually feel like I'm living my purpose and vision more than I ever had in the last 3 years of struggle street in trying to build a tech startup in that area.
That's isn't that beautiful? That's probably a nice segue in. So what are some of the other great things that it's always easy to say, look, COVID's done X, Y, Z, and like you're in Sydney, I'm in Melbourne. You don't know what tough is up in Sydney, being able to get out and go to places. We're still stuck within 5Ks and lockdown and all that kind of stuff. And everybody hates the Premier, and we're dirty Victorians. But what are some of the other good things that you reckon have come out of COVID for you?
Mate, our relationships have grown. So firstly, the network has continued to grow, the introduction to more and more people. So for me, the ability to connect in the virtual space has probably been the strongest thing that has come.
Why do you think that's happened now? Is it down to you've got more time, like there's less distraction, if you like, around you, and now you can
I think this what we're doing right now I never launched Cuppa of Life thinking that it would turn into a new business opportunity for us. It started off in such an authentic place that it naturally translates in the way that we communicate. That naturally allows a talent or a person or a business wanting to be involved in Cuppa to understand why we've done it and to understand the impact that we're having. It's free. Like that's the other thing as well. There's no real hidden agenda behind it for us. We want to make those people attending happier and healthier. We want to raise money for community organisations and charities, and we want to give a voice to our talent to be able to share their story and initiatives that they're doing. So there's win, 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 win without any undertone of buy now. If that makes sense. What's happened out of the back of it is that we're getting interest in other areas that are now commercially making it sensible for us to continue moving forward with Cuppa, with our virtual masterclasses that we're doing, which are more deeper learning experiences, and other things that we have in the progress at the moment around that.
So has one of your biggest challenges through doing this, obviously, and you can really feel that it is coming from a good place from you, is the challenge now, like how can you don't take this question the wrong way, but how can you monetize this more to like moving forward so that it can be something that you never thought it would be, but turning it into.
So for now, like what we've looked at with Funlocka in general, our rewards and recognition software is on the shelf. There's no point in me developing any more until the right time. The Excite pillar around team building events and all that type of stuff, we're executing, and it's ad hoc at the moment. So we did like a virtual team building event where we had a magic show for Google the other day, which went off. It was awesome. But now this inspire layer. So this is where I say Cuppa of Life exists, is how do we inspire people every single day? I won't turn the morning cafe into a monetized option for people. It is a free way for people to get access, a free way for talent to grow. So we're not going to commercialize that in any way, shape or form. Where it works is that we've now got 60 companies who release our poster every single week to their staff. So for me, it's a door entry for companies to know what we're about.
Yes.
That gets those companies in, and then we can have deeper conversations, because Cuppa of Life in the morning is a highlights reel. It's not the in-depth structure that we can deliver in an inspired learning. So we're going to go deeper in that inspired learning pillar around areas that businesses require: mental health and well-being, wellness, sustainability, diversity and inclusion, productivity, and communication. And we're going to tap into our network of talent, which we've now got over 130, to be able to deliver solutions, whether it's a bespoke Q&A for a client, whether it's a 1 hour masterclass that we've crafted and pulled together. And for us, we've had real success with it already in that area. And that's where I see the biggest growth area for us around Cuppa.
Yeah, nice. I can see where, like when you go to your Cuppa of Life website, you can see you've got like a menu there where it's, there's the free stuff. Everybody likes free stuff. And I think that's great. So people can kind of dip their toe a little bit as well and say, well, what is this? Is this genuine? And then, you've got your corporate stuff in there as well. So I think that's really brilliant.
Well, 90% of the business that we're signing off at the moment is new leads to us. It's people that I have never contacted before, and they've either heard about Cuppa of Life, they've either attended Cuppa of Life, they've told their bosses about Cuppa of Life, and it has naturally grown for the business that we're getting in. Now that to me shows sign that what we're doing is right, valuable, and when we execute for those companies, they're loving it. So I would have had, with Funlocka, I'd probably only get like 1 lead a week, 1 or 2 leads a week. With Cuppa, we were getting like 4 or 5 leads a day. So it's just a different approach that seems to be resonating right now, maybe because the market right now needs us.
Yes. Yeah. I think this is one of the great opportunities that COVID has provided. Just there's opportunities there for you if you want to find them, and you've latched onto it pretty quickly. And you've built this great thing. So kudos to you. It's really great. Now, I know you're passionate about mental health.
Yep.
What do you think is the biggest problem with mental health these days?
It's a really tough question. That is a really tough question to answer. I think from a mental health standpoint, like obviously we partnered up with Gotcha for Life, and I think the ability to talk about it is obviously something that everyone talks about when it comes to mental health. Gus Worland, who knows Steve Smith. Steve Smith, the cricketer, had an analogy that it's when you got things going on in your world, it's like blowing into a balloon. And if you keep on blowing into the balloon, one day it's going to pop if you don't release out some of those moments. So for me, I think it's the overall discussion around it. But the other flip side for me is I just don't think people realize just how many positive things are happening in their life. And how they can just, even if they just concentrate on those little moments when they're feeling down. Like I've got these cards here, and you won't be able to see it if this is audio, but these cards are my reflection cards that,
Yeah, nice.
if I'm feeling down, I look at these cards and I remember moments, right? So
Feel free to hold them up. Yeah, we're going to show the video. So
it's like starting the day with me,
Yeah.
So I've got a morning habit ritual that I get up, go for a run, go for a meditation, and I don't look at my emails until after Cuppa of Life. So for me, I already feel like I've got that positive momentum happening in my world. And I think if people realize that they can build these little positive habit rituals and also look after themselves in the same breath around, not drinking too much alcohol and all that type of stuff, your world starts to change. So I don't think people have the right techniques to be able to get through their challenges, and especially in these uncertain times, because we always think about what's in front of us, not what is inside us as such.
Yeah.
And for me, they're the two things: is not having the right network to communicate your concerns to without feeling judged. And the second thing is realizing what you've actually got in your life to make you feel better for it.
Yeah, really well said. Really well said. Hey, tell me, when it comes to what you're doing, how you're now building this new side of your business, and so I like to look at high performance success. How important do you think your mindset is versus your ability to do what it is that you do?
I'm one, Rob, that will try and previously, prior to COVID, was always trying to force a situation to happen. And my mindset, when you kept on getting knocked back from that, trying to force stuff to happen, started sending me down into a bad red flag territory. My red flags are things that I realized that I'm starting to go downhill again. My wife and I wrote a red flag list when I burnt out. And I continuously look at that red flag list to see if I'm hitting those pillars. And I think when I was in Funlocka and the relentless nature of trying to build a tech startup, I was hitting a lot of those red flags. COVID hit, we started Cuppa of Life, and I made the vow to not try and force its growth, is to try and naturally see where the opportunities arise. And then if that feels good, go with it. And that seems to be working for me right now, is that I'm not trying to force the hand of scale, quick.
Yeah.
I'm letting it naturally flow to me. So yeah, to answer your question again, for me, it's just making sure that it feels right for where we are right now. And I would say mindset is everything versus the ability to deliver.
Yeah. Nice. I don't know whether you remember, but I asked a couple of the Olympians the same question. And I think this one was, I think it was Ian Thorpe.
Yeah.
So for those that are watching internationally, Ian Thorpe, one of our greatest male Olympic swimmers. And he said, I said, I think I asked three. I said, is it coaching, skills, or mindset? And I asked a couple of them and they all said, definitely mindset.
Yeah,
comes first. Yeah. Hey, if you don't mind sharing, and feel free to say no to this, but what are some of your red flags?
Let me get the list.
You've got it right there.
Yeah, no, it's right here.
Are they written on?
Not enjoying what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Moody at home. Unmotivated in day-to-day life. Drinking too much. Working ridiculous hours for long periods of time. Not taking quality time for me. Have an ongoing sense of not achieving, which is probably my biggest one.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Anxiety attacks on day-to-day life, like letting things affect me quickly.
Yeah, wow, that is so powerful. Do you know what? This whole session, I reckon people could take something away from that. I mean, the fact that you've had the foresight to create those red flags, that red flag list, I reckon is so powerful. Was that something that you initiated or your wife encouraged you to do it?
No, I initiated it. And I initiated in the fact that I didn't want to get to that place again.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm perfect on all those fronts. There's probably two of those that I'm currently living. And it's not about being perfect. It's just about having less of those than more of those.
Yeah.
So the red flag list is something that I check in regularly. It was the first time I checked it probably in about a month, though, just by reading it just then.
Yeah.
I feel a lot better than what I was a month ago, in all honesty. Especially when it comes to that sense of achieving part, which is a big driver in me. obviously being an entrepreneur as well, you're not in part of a business where you're being pat on the back a lot. You have to pat yourself on the back.
Great.
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, for me, that red flag list is something that I regularly check in on.
Yeah.
And it's something that I initiated, but with my wife's help, by asking her what are some of the things that she's been seeing in me that have changed.
Most people can't relate to this unless you've been in the entrepreneur shoes, but it's such it can be such a lonely, isolating road to despair if you're not very careful.
Yeah, well, Rob, I say to myself, I say this one line that gives people a laugh sometimes, but it's so true. I say to people, I have 50 meetings a day. 47 of them are in my head, and 5 times I sack myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're constantly in your brain, and it is important to have those other things around you that you can get out of your brain for a little bit. And that might be mentors, that could be meditation, that could be a morning ritual, that could be ensuring that I don't have my phone with me between 5 to 7 because that's my time with my daughter. Yep. And so it's just about creating moments where you're not constantly in the grind.
Yeah. My because of what I do, even though I work in the space of training people and that kind of stuff, my way of giving back to me is doing a workout. I love my strength training and doing all that. Now, of course, all the gyms are shut here, but I've got my own studio at home here, thankfully. But a major red flag for me is when I go in there and I'm lifting up the weights and I'm like, I can't do this today. And that just happened to me like a week ago. Right. And that's the big red flag for me to say, you need to have a week off.
Yeah.
To be re-inspired, if you feel tired, if I'm just not like, I can't do this. That's my major red flag there. But the one that you said about, the pressure for high performance that you put on yourself, that is a constant voice in the back of my head, hitting me with the cricket bat. It's like going like this all the time. Yeah. It's like, what are you doing? This isn't working.
Yeah.
Coaching. I've just got a few questions left for you. Coaching, how have you used coaches, if you've used coaches before, to help you get to where you are? And maybe they haven't had a title of a coach. It might have been someone you worked with, but any formal coaching and stuff that you've had?
I haven't had much formal coaching. It's probably been one area that I've thought about and definitely needed, in all honesty. I've definitely got my mentors though. So I've got those people around me. Like I said, I did lose my best mate, Hodgie, who was a big mentor for me on both a personal front and a business front. I haven't really filled that void yet. But I've got people that I rely upon and chat to subject to the matter that I need the most, if that makes sense. So I don't have an official coach, but I've got plenty of people surrounding me.
And what role would you say that's had in you being successful?
I don't know if it has, in all honesty. Like, here we go. That's my sense of achievement again kicking in. I have been successful. It's great to bounce stuff off someone when you know that you don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
I also take some of that learning with a bit of grain of salt as well, just depending on what their opinions are. Versus their knowledge in the space that I'm in. So it's a hard one to balance. But I couldn't say that I've had, due to that, I've had success, in all honesty.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
And it might be that I just haven't had the right coach, right? Or I haven't formulated it in the right way where I'm really getting some in-depth understanding of who I am and where this business can grow. So it's not a reflection of coaching. It's more a reflection of who I've surrounded myself with.
I think you have and just like you have different people in your life, you have different coaches as well. I've had a bunch of different coaches over time, and they've taken me to a point where it's time to almost like break the relationship with that coach. You need a new coach for a different area, maybe because you're, like if you think about where you were 5 years ago, it's a different place to where you are right in this moment, and you'll need different sorts of coaching. I've got 2 final questions for you. what or how important is the role of your own personal health and fitness in helping you achieve success and taking care of your own mental health?
Oh, mate, it's vital. You know, like I'm the founder of the business. I've got team to support. I've got my wife, my kids. Like, if you think about the pressure surrounding a business owner, there's a lot there. So without looking after yourself first, you can't look after everything else. And I've only learned that really the hard way multiple times.
Yeah.
That it's only really starting to sink in the last, since COVID, in all honesty, properly, that, you know, I'm the most important person in this world, because without me, then
good on you.
So for me, it's the biggest cog in the wheel that needs to make sure that it's been looked after.
And this is one of the things I think as men we're not good at. So men, we build it all up inside us, like inside this little box here. And the best way for men to get it out there, we need to do something physical.
Yeah.
Now, women are different. The best way for them it's not that exercise isn't important, but they get this part out of them some other way. And that's, they talk.
Yeah.
They need to communicate and connect. And we're like, I just want to sit here and watch Arnold Schwarzenegger blow the shit out of all these people here. I don't want to sit here and talk about it. But that's, you know, that's just the difference. So we need to be able to do that. So I'm glad that you recognize the importance of that. And final question. Well, actually, I'll give you a follow-up one after this one. But what would your number one tip be to help people grow their mental toughness, in the spirit of the show?
Well, my biggest thing is how you start your mornings, in all honesty. Like, for me, you've got to start the day with you. That is my biggest thing that I've learned. And bookend your day as well. The bookends for me are the most important parts, because it starts you off on the right foot. And having those little moments throughout the day where you can bring yourself back as well. So I think it's important that, you know, a lot of people get busy by putting in their calendars back-to-back meetings. Make one of those meetings for you, at least. Treat it the most important meeting of the day. Well. So for me, it's just what the little habits and techniques that you create at the start, during, and at the end of the day that I think has held me in the right space.
Yeah.
More so than not.
Yeah.
I know, like, if I start my day by looking at my phone, I'm gone.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say. I've had to practice this a lot, but not checking the phone, not checking email, not checking social media before you know what's my destiny for today.
Yeah.
What am I going to, you know, how can I get my head in the right space first? So, beautifully said. So final question was, so if people want to get in touch with you, get on, have a listen to Cuppa of Life, what's the best way that people can reach out? You've just frozen up on me, Luke. You're still there? All right. Well, you come back in if we unfreeze. I'll just keep talking here for a second. So that was kind of a Dorothy Dixer type question to Luke, but to connect with Luke and listen to the Cuppa of Life, it's just go to www.cuppa, CUPPA of life, and he's now dropped out altogether, .com. And have a jump in on his live mornings. They're at 8:30 Australian time so that's Melbourne, Sydney time every day. They're great. He has a special guest every day. Today was Zoe. I'm not sure of her surname, but she's a nutritionist, done a lot of work with cancer and everything. Really fantastic. And he's got a new one every single day. So it's absolutely amazing. Luke, I don't know whether he's going to drop back in. I might just wait a moment so we can thank him and say goodbye. But otherwise, I will end the recording. I think this has really been fantastic. Luke has made so many great points there. I think you can feel the struggle. You can feel how he's taken what he wants from his. I'm going to just let him back in now. G'day, Luke.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, that's okay. I was just ad-libbing there and telling people, I said that was actually a Dorothy Dixer question. I'll tell you how to get into Cuppa of Life. But, so I've answered that question. But
Amazing.
I just said basically go to your website, and I was just talking about it starts at 8:30 and you've got a new guest each day. I'm assuming that's the best way.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Cuppaoflife.com, and then yeah, just starting day with positivity with us.
Yeah, brilliant. So look, I just want to thank you so much for today, but also the great work that you're doing. I mean, it is really inspirational, and obviously you've had an impact on me because it started with the athlete story, because I'm passionate about, you know, the success of athletes. But then obviously I followed you on into your daily Cuppa of Life, and then reached out to you because I can see just how much success you've had in driving something that's really just come, you can't see it, come from here.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
So yeah, truly appreciate what you're doing. Keep it up.
Thanks, Rob, and thanks for having me on today, mate. I really do appreciate sharing
No
the story.
worries. Thanks, Luke.